Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today I would like to speak about my painting called Sands of Time. I had filmed my take on this painting some time back, but somehow I deleted it. So I'm assuming Sands of Time had a very strong role to play in the timing of filming this video. So let me walk on this journey with you about Sands of Time. When I started painting Sands of Time, it was a completely different canvas. It was a completely different concept. It was my mind wanted to capture time, but how do you capture time in a painting? I had no idea. So I thought, why not just start with a blank canvas, texture it as always, and that's when things start coming in my mind. I did that. I textured it. This canvas, if you look at it, I mean, I don't know, you can't touch it, but those who can someday will know that it's a textured canvas. And when I textured it, I thought of creating a path that would lead to this thing called time. And when I thought of it, I thought of an hourglass. I said to myself, nothing can capture time, nothing can measure time or capture time from our perspective better than an hourglass. So had the I knew I would place the hourglass right at the center of the canvas. But what you look and what I started with are on two opposite sides of the spectrum. I painted shelves. I thought, how can you quantify time? How can you have records of time? And I thought, okay, there'll be a library like the Akashic records. I painted bookshelves. I painted my version of a library, bookshelves with records of lifetimes of time, I would say. But that didn't sit well with me. I thought, how that does not capture the eternity of time, because time is eternal. It's a concept that we've not even touched the tip of the iceberg where time is concerned. It is precious. It is what we say timeless, but it is hard to conceptualize time. I said, okay, this is not working out for me, and it's an oil. We will wipe it all again. No problem. We will take our time with this canvas. I thought to myself, and I did that. I said, no, this is not working out, and I just wiped this canvas and I just painted blue. And I said to myself, it doesn't matter, let it just come out the way it's meant to. And while I was painting the blue, I somehow just came up with these two columns. I said, let me have the columns and see where it goes. So somewhere in the back of my mind, I had something in connection with an architectural concept. I had no idea what, but having columns, such grand columns, somewhere some kind of architecture comes out. So I said, okay, we will have our columns, but I will have my path as well, because everything leads to something. So my path is going to lead to this thing called time. And my columns, I said, let me not have rigid columns. Let's soften it with having some flowers, with having some uh, branches, with having some green. So the rest of the canvas had nothing, and I just played. I took my time with the columns. I painted each and every flower one at a time, one at a time. And while I was doing that, I was processing. I was processing a lot about time. I did that. I took my time and I looked at it, and I said, how, what, where, when? There were so many unanswered questions in my head. And then I said, okay, let me have the three arches. Maybe there will be a pathway. Let's create a pathway. So I had my three arches, three doorways, three portals, however you want to interpret it. My arches are, something can go in, something can come out. Someone can go in, someone can come out. Whoever it is, however it is. And they will center around my hourglass. I knew my hourglass is going to be in the center of the canvas, and everything is going to revolve around the hourglass. So I had my arches, I had my doorways, my path, whatever it is, and I had my hourglass. I painted the hourglass in the center. It was suspended at that time, and then I said, no, let me not suspend it. That's too mystical. So I created a very subtle platform that the hourglass is resting on with a shadow at the bottom. So it is not suspended. It has a foundation. At the same time, the foundation can be interpreted as something that is eternal. That was my idea, that you can see it's not exactly on the ground, but there is a little shadow to me. That's how it came from my subconscious, that yes, this hourglass is, with the time is suspended, not in a mystical way, but it's suspended. It is timeless, it is eternal, and it is suspended in my world of this canvas. Yet I felt it was incomplete. I said, okay, I have my three doorways, I have my columns, I have my hourglass, I have my arches on the top. It By that time it was all it mixed with architecture somehow or the other. So I had my arches like an old monastery, where the monks are. I don't know, an old monastery, and but in with the arches, with the columns, that kind of that kind of a feeling. It had it had the I wanted some light to be shed on the hourglass because that is the centerpiece. So there it has to shine. I did that, yet it was incomplete. And I said, okay, if there is time and it is suspended and it is eternal, how can we say that? It is because we exist, we know of time. What if our species didn't exist? What if there was no life in the entire universe? Does time really exist? But because we exist and we are trying to analyze and understand this concept of time, then it is in a it does exist in the reality. That's how I thought of time. If we don't exist, time does not exist. But because we exist, we have to acknowledge, we have to uh, we have to how do I say this? It is precious. I, I feel time is precious. It goes by so fast. It can go in the blink of an eye in our human experience. We take it for granted. That's what I'm trying to say. Time is something that we as a species have taken for granted. Yet throughout our existence, we have evolved to such a level that has constantly told us, whoever is out there is telling us, value this time, value the time that you have with your loved ones, value the time of your youth, of every stage and every phase of your life. That's what time is constantly telling us, but we take it for granted. And by the time we realize the importance of time, it's gone. For most of us, for some of us, it's too late by the time we realize the importance of time. So I said, okay, if my time is there, someone has to witness the time, but not in a harsh way. So I have my ethereal figures. There is, and she's translucent. I felt like making her translucent. So if you look at it closely, then you can see there's an ethereal figure with a flowing gown, with a flowing veil. She's walking towards the hourglass. She's walking towards the time. She's walking towards a moment, possibly, whatever it is. But she is walking towards this thing called time in the most elegant way. And there is another figure. I said, if one is walking towards time, maybe there has to be someone on the other side of the hourglass who's receiving whoever is walking towards time. So I have my other ethereal figure with a white veil and flowing gown, and she's just standing in peace in a moment of. She's standing in a moment. She's not standing. I don't know if she's peaceful, if she's having emotions. I don't know. That's for you to interpret. But she's standing in a moment. And that is the moment that the hourglass has captured. She is in a moment, and the other ethereal figure is in a moment. And this is the moment that I captured with the hourglass, suspended in a pause, in, When we watch a movie, we pause and we feel, wow, time is paused. So that wasn't my idea, but that's how I feel it is. It is a moment is captured with the hourglass. And that is the significance of time. It is a culmination of moments. For us in our lifetime, we have moments, tiny, tiny, tiny moments that are put together and it forms a span of time. For us, it could be that span of time is eternal. Maybe one moment of tremendous, overwhelming joy, it is just a moment captured by the hourglass, but it is eternal for us. It stays in our memory, it stays. Maybe it will go with us when we go. Maybe it stays. I don't know what happens after we go. But it in that moment, it is that time is eternal. That's how valuable time is. And I wanted to capture that in a painting. I'm not sure if I've done justice to it, but these are all the things that have gone on in my mind when I painted Sands of Time. It took me a long time from the initial concept of painting a library, and you know I painted the books as well. I'll put it up. I painted the books as well in the library, and to whitewash all of that, to blue wash all of that, and reinvent the entire painting. It took me a long time. And there was a moment of a very long pause when I painted my arches, when I painted my hourglass, and everything else was done. Before I painted the ethereal figures, it took me 6 months. I didn't know, I didn't understand, I was lost, and I put the canvas aside for 6 months, maybe 7 months. I don't even remember, but it was that long. And I said, it doesn't mean I wasn't looking at it. I was painting other paintings, and I finished them. Life was going on, and I would constantly look, and I would just pass it by because I had no idea what to do with it. But I knew deep within, this painting is not complete. Fine, it will come when the time is right. It will all come, and so it happened with the Sands of Time. And with the completion of this painting, I came one step closer to appreciating this thing called time. And that was my emotion when I painted Sands of Time. I don't know how you feel when you look at this painting. I don't know how you want to interpret it. It is, I have had, mm, I have had someone curating about this painting, beautiful words. And I read the words and I said, wow, there's so much that even I didn't understand that I have painted in this painting. So that's how, yes, it did touch somebody's soul. And that is priceless to me. I hope uh, looking at this painting makes you feel something good, something valuable about time. And I thank you for staying with me on this journey with my art. And let's continue with my other paintings.